thank you folks from the media for joining us today. This time we're going to have our third budget workshop. Ms. Smith, all yours.
Go right ahead. Jump right into it.
Y'all will refer to your notebook. Of course, page 1 is our summary page of all categories. And what I've brought you today, unfortunately, the first section is 65 pages, but don't panic. What I did was every summary page for every section I have brought back because the salary adjustments we had discussed have all been worked in. The state's $3,000 change to the state salary schedule, plus the local portion on our end has been included in this budget. So we'll just go through, we have not presented instruction, so I'm going to go through instruction and improvement of instruction. Those two categories had not previously been presented, nor had any of the special revenue. So I'm going to hit those. The rest of it, I just brought back the summary pages so you could see the salary and benefit changes that were caused by the salary and benefit changes since last time. Okay, so let's go to page 2. This is the summary instructional budget. This is where all of our teachers, instructional parapros, most of our technology specialists, our counselors, are all housed in this section. In the top section, of course, you see salary and benefits. It is a 4.54% increase. It does include the $3,000 state schedule increase for certified staff. Currently, our local schedule, we use those state numbers, plus we add a 10% local supplement. We have held to that in this case, so we will have to ask for your approval on that schedule at a later time, as long as y'all are pleased with what we're presenting today. The only positions that we are increasing are parapros. Since we are moving DOVA, and we've had DOVA this year, and it's been a little different situation than we've had before, we are asking for the addition of one parapro to provide clerical and instructional support in that building. They would also support virtual school if needed, but most of the time I believe they would be in the DOVA area with the instructional area. Now, do y'all have questions? Each object code is assigned by the state. As you see, teachers, parapros, each one has a specific code, as do the benefits. We are not requesting any additional teaching positions. We had a break even this year at the moment. We are watching kindergarten closely. I believe our pre-K has fleshed out, which you'll see in special revenue. Like I said, the only area that I'm aware of that we are actually asking for an increase in staff, and you would also see that as a new position when it comes across the PAR in the board meetings, that it is a new position for a parapro.
So for parapros, exactly, how much is that per hour for a parapro?
Okay, what we have proposed, or what we have prepared in here is in all but a couple of areas, and I want to wait just a few minutes to get to those areas. All non-certified, we're recommending a $1 an hour increase to their current salary, with the exception of bus drivers, who we gave a $2 an hour increase last year, but the proposal is a 2%. The state gave a 2% state transportation salary increase, but we want to do a 2% overall that captures local and state, just so it's an even 2% for them.
And that's will that 2% be in addition for non-certified staff in addition to the $1?
And that is just for bus drivers. Since bus drivers got $2 an hour last year, and the rest of the staff did not, we did a $1 an hour for all the other staff, and then that 2% across the board state and local increase for bus drivers. Then food service, it's in special revenue, and I want to hold that thought. What the request is, because we're losing instructional days for them, that means it costs them money in revenue. If you don't serve the kids, you don't make money. She wants to do a 75 cent for the increase for her school food service workers, and a $1 an hour increase for the managers. So that is her proposal.
Does that include all?
Pardon?
Does that include all, even the ones that are no longer have as far as the schedule, they're out of the schedule now, I guess, or met their limit? I don't know from a couple of weeks talking about
salary schedule.
Now we are going to pull the schedule out to what had been requested. That is a little different issue, but you wanted to pull the schedule out from 25 years to 30. I've incorporated that in here too. So it's all incorporated in here, so I'm trying to get all the pieces here. With the salaries, like I said, all non-certified, non-administrative positions we are requesting $1 an hour increase, with exception of bus drivers only. So that is monitors and the mechanics and what the office staff is. We're gonna have all brand new people there, full brand new folks coming in there, so their salaries are coming through y'all. So it'll be whatever y'all approve for them. And then food service would be 75 cents for food service workers, and then $1 for managers and the bookkeeper. Does that make sense? And I'm gonna go through this a little more in detail here.
I might be getting ahead too, but on the, back to the 3,000 state certified, what certified staff positions were not included on the 3,000?
They went back and captured them all. The only certified folks we have that are not on that schedule, we call them on contract, and that most of the time is just central office folks. I'll give you an example. Our food service director is not on that schedule, although she is a certified member. Our curriculum folks are off that schedule. So the recommendation for them is just to match the teachers, which will equate to 3,300.
Is there many that will be grouped into that, or is it a small group?
It's a very small group. It's about, I had my list, I could tell you, it's going to be less than 12.
But what we're actually doing is, with y'all's approval, we are asking that every employee in our school system will receive some sort of increase in
Absolutely.
raise.
The minimum would be 2%.
And the maximum will be up to 3,300.
Well, yeah, a 12-month person, I'll give you an example. A principal is on a 12-month contract, but they are attached to the salary schedule, so they get $3,000 state base increase, and then $300 locally per month. So you're going to get $300 to go over here with your 10 months, so that's $3,300, just like the teachers. But the 11th and 12th month generate another $300 for each one, so they will actually receive $3,900. So if you have a 12-month person attached to the schedule, because if you've got them attached to the schedule and you change the schedule, that's going to follow. An 11-month person would get $3,600 if they're attached to the schedule. Most of the staff that is certified is attached to the schedule. I'll give you an example though. Our assistant superintendent, he is on contract. So he will get, so no matter what you do to the schedule, his salary won't change unless I present it like this and you vote on it. Those increases are in it. That's why I have to say that to you, is I do want you to understand, even though he's 12 months, his will be $3,300, where principals will get $3,900. So we do want to make that clear. Clear as mud. Sorry, I needed somebody, and you were the most obvious one.
You were here.
Okay, in instruction, now in operating, well, actually when we're staffing too, there's something we have to work under, and it's called the RAMP, and it's a federal mandate. It's called Resource Allocation Methodology Plan. We have to establish our RAMP, and that's basically the rules to how we allocate our resources to each school so that it is considered equitable. So like all the elementaries, based on the number of students they have, they get so much money per category. Like they'll get so much for instructional supplies, so much for pupil services, and it can change by grade band. So high school is typically more expensive than elementary. So all the K-4 schools have been given the same amount per pupil based on the current rolled up students for next year. That way we capture what we think is the correct number. This also requires us, after the first 20 to 30 days of school, to go back, recount students. If I've allocated, I know one of the schools had 576 students at this time. If they have 580 at the end of our first month, I have to amend their budget. I have to give them more money per student based on that allotment we set. It also goes the other way. Before, if we had this situation, we would quite often give a school, if they had a lot more students show up than we expected, we would give them more money. We would reallocate. But we usually did not take money away. But based on the RAMP, if their numbers go down, we have to follow that too. So if it goes down, we either have to ask for an amendment from the state, or we have to adhere to the rules that we set for ourselves. So this will be the first real year that we've had to do it. We did a mini test last year on our staffing. We allot all the staff this way, so you may have a grade level that's 1 teacher to 20 students. They'll go in and test the average. This will be the first year that they truly test it. We did some kind of testing last year, and we were in good shape. Some of the things are a little confusing of what you do count and what you don't. And those were the ones that kind of caused a little wavering. We have a lot of staff that travels to multiple locations when it comes to PT and OT, different kinds of therapy in particular. You have to actually assign based on the segments they serve and the students, the percentages, and it all goes into the CPI, and we pull it out and test it. So it was a little harder to do than we thought, and we did really well in most areas. We typically had maybe more staff than we should have. We had 3 places, I believe, that we were kind of on the line, but you've got a percentage range. You can go above or below, and I believe we stayed, I'd have to check the federal programs, but I believe we stayed within that band on all of them. But this year will be the real year. This is a real test, so we have to stick with what we propose in that schedule, or we have to amend the schedule. So we're still working on the ramp, and that's how we put this together. So depending on whether this budget is okay, then we'll finish the ramp next week, and it has to be submitted by July 1st. So there's a process here that we have to go through. Does that kind of make sense? So we're not just randomly saying, all right, you get this much money and you get this much money, and I don't care how many students you have. It really is a plan, and it does make it very equitable unless you have something really different like an aging school. So we've been able to take that and deal with it with SPLOST and M&O. We're able to pull those things out, but you have to identify them and pull them over here and say, we're not using these in our account. So, but anyway, that's how we put together this budget.